The rap world is reeling after shocking reports surfaced that Kendrick Lamar has allegedly exposed Drake, sending shockwaves across the industry and leaving fans stunned. Sources claim that Kendrick dropped a series of revelations that challenge Drake's influence, credibility, and position in the modern rap hierarchy, claims that could fundamentally alter the dynamics of hip-hop. The situation has ignited fierce debate among fans, critics, and insiders, with many questioning whether Drake's reign at the top of the charts is now in jeopardy. For years, Drake has been regarded as one of the most dominant forces in music, consistently releasing chart-topping albums, breaking streaming records, and maintaining global cultural influence. However, insiders suggest that Kendrick's revelations highlight weaknesses that many fans hadn't previously considered, from creative stagnation to strategic missteps in branding and collaborations. These claims, amplified across social media and streaming platforms, have set off an intense firestorm, with fans dissecting every lyric, post, and interview for clues. The tension between Kendrick and Drake is more than just a clash of personalities. It represents a shift in the rap game itself. Industry analysts argue that Kendrick's bold move could signal a new era in hip-hop, where legacy, credibility, and artistry are weighed more heavily than streaming numbers or commercial success alone. Kendrick has long been respected for his lyrical mastery and thought-provoking content, and insiders say this exposure is his way of asserting dominance in a changing musical landscape. Social media erupted within minutes of the news, with fans taking sides, analyzing diss tracks, and debating the implications for both artists. While some supporters defend Drake, arguing that his commercial success is unmatched, others praise Kendrick for his courage in speaking out and holding a fellow superstar accountable. The viral nature of the revelations demonstrates just how high the stakes are, not just for the two artists but for the rap industry as a whole. Experts believe that Kendrick's actions could have long-term consequences. Labels, collaborators, and streaming platforms are closely monitoring reactions, as this confrontation may redefine how artists assert influence, maintain credibility, and navigate the competitive world of hip-hop. Fans are left wondering, will Drake respond, or has Kendrick permanently shifted the balance of power? The answers could reshape the rap game forever, making this one of the most pivotal moments in recent music history. The shocking revelation that Kendrick Lamar has allegedly exposed Drake has sent shockwaves throughout the music industry, leaving fans, critics, and insiders scrambling to understand the full scope of what is unfolding. For years, Drake has dominated the charts, amassed record-breaking streaming numbers, and become one of the most influential figures in hip-hop. Yet, according to sources close to the situation, Kendrick's recent disclosures have cast a spotlight on weaknesses in Drake's artistry, strategy, and perhaps even credibility, shaking the foundations of what many considered an unassailable reign. This confrontation is not just about competition. It represents a seismic shift in the rap game, signaling a new era where legacy and authenticity may outweigh commercial success. The alleged exposure reportedly stems from a combination of lyrical critiques, behind-the-scenes insights, and insider commentary that Kendrick has shared publicly and through his music. Sources indicate that Kendrick's approach was calculated, blending subtle hints in tracks with strategic statements that question Drake's creative originality, collaborative decisions, and influence over the modern rap landscape. While Drake's success has always been undeniable, Kendrick's revelations challenge the narrative that commercial dominance equates to artistic supremacy. The rap community is now forced to confront questions about credibility, innovation, and long-term relevance, turning what might have been an internal rivalry into a global conversation. Fans of both artists reacted instantly on social media, with platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok exploding with debates, analyses, and viral clips dissecting Kendrick's claims. Many supporters of Kendrick applauded him for holding it down for the culture and calling out perceived weaknesses in one of the genre's biggest stars. Others, loyal to Drake, dismissed the revelations as hype or strategic posturing, defending his commercial dominance and ongoing influence in hip-hop. Regardless of which side fans take, the intensity of the conversation highlights the magnitude of this confrontation and the stakes for both artists. Every lyric, Every post and every public appearance is now scrutinized in light of Kendrick's exposure. Industry insiders suggest that the timing of Kendrick's actions was deliberate, with Drake preparing for high-profile releases, tours, and collaborations. Exposing certain vulnerabilities now maximizes public attention and impact. Experts argue that in the modern music industry, narrative control is just as important as musical output. By shifting the conversation toward credibility, artistry, and influence, Kendrick is leveraging both the media and fan attention to assert dominance, potentially redefining his position in the hip-hop hierarchy. This move is viewed as a strategic effort to challenge not only Drake's image but the very metrics by which artists measure success today. The tension between Kendrick and Drake reflects broader dynamics in hip-hop. While commercial success has historically been a key measure of an artist's power, Kendrick's challenge signals a shift toward evaluating legacy, lyrical content, and cultural authenticity. Analysts note that this is a critical moment for the genre. Fans and artists alike are questioning what it truly means to run the rap game. Is it streaming numbers, awards, and collaborations? Or is it influence, credibility, and artistic integrity? Kendrick's exposure forces this conversation into the public sphere, making it impossible for fans and industry insiders to ignore. Collaborators, labels, and industry executives are also reportedly watching closely. The fallout from Kendrick's claims could influence everything from sponsorship deals to touring partnerships, as stakeholders consider how association with either artist might affect their own reputations. Sources indicate that streaming platforms and radio networks are monitoring public engagement and fan reactions to gauge which narratives resonate most. Every tweet, track, and media appearance is analyzed for clues about power shifts within the rap industry. The strategic nature of Kendrick's move demonstrates a keen understanding of modern music marketing and public perception management, further solidifying his influence beyond the music itself. Financial implications may also come into play. While Drake continues to generate immense revenue through album sales, streaming, and endorsements, public perception and credibility can influence long-term profitability. Analysts suggest that if Kendrick's narrative gains traction, it could affect brand partnerships, fan loyalty, and even streaming engagement for Drake's upcoming projects. Conversely, Kendrick could see a boost in cultural authority and market positioning, leveraging the exposure to reinforce his brand as a leader in artistry and authenticity. This tension between commercial power and cultural influence is at the heart of the current crisis, illustrating the nuanced ways success is measured in today's music industry. Public discourse has expanded beyond social media, with analysts, journalists, and cultural commentators dissecting the situation on talk shows, podcasts, and news platforms. Fans and critics alike are debating who holds the true crown in hip-hop, analyzing lyrics, performance styles, and historical achievements to weigh the claims made by Kendrick. The conversation is not confined to one region or demographic. It has become a global discussion about influence, respect, and legacy in music. The intensity of this scrutiny reflects the high stakes for both artists and underscores the importance of narrative control in contemporary hip-hop. The alleged exposure is also affecting the creative landscape. Other artists are reportedly taking cues from this confrontation, considering how credibility, authenticity, and strategic messaging can impact their own careers. Kendrick's move may encourage a broader emphasis on lyrical skill, cultural relevance, and artistic integrity as markers of success, rather than relying solely on commercial dominance. This potential paradigm shift could influence how new and established artists approach their craft, collaborations, and public personas in the coming years. Ultimately, Kendrick Lamar's exposure of Drake is more than a personal rivalry. It's a watershed moment in the rap industry. It challenges long-standing assumptions about success, reshapes fan expectations, and potentially redefines the metrics by which artists are judged. The fallout is ongoing, and every public statement, social media post, and track release is now examined through this lens of credibility and influence. As fans and insiders continue to debate who truly holds power in hip-hop, one thing is certain: the rap game may never be the same again. Kendrick's bold move has set a new standard, forcing artists, executives, and fans alike to reconsider what it truly means to dominate the culture, not just the charts. The stakes could not be higher, and the world is watching. Drake's response, or lack thereof, will determine whether he can maintain his position, adapt to the challenge, or face a reshaping of his legacy. Meanwhile, Kendrick's maneuver positions him as a force capable of shifting narratives and altering the course of modern hip-hop. This is not just a clash of stars, it's a turning point that could define the future of the rap industry, making this one of the most consequential moments in recent music history. The reverberations from Kendrick Lamar exposing Drake continue to dominate headlines, fan discussions, and industry chatter, with implications that could reshape the landscape of hip-hop for years to come. While Drake has long been regarded as one of the most commercially successful and culturally influential artists of his generation, Kendrick's revelations challenge the narrative that chart dominance equates to unquestioned supremacy. Insiders report that Kendrick's exposure highlights vulnerabilities in Drake's artistry, collaborative decisions, and positioning in the rap hierarchy, forcing fans and industry professionals alike to re-evaluate the balance between commercial success and cultural credibility. The timing of Kendrick's exposure appears strategic. Sources suggest that the rapper deliberately chose to release his insights at a moment when Drake was preparing high-profile projects and major tours. By creating maximum visibility and leveraging public attention, Kendrick ensured that his message would resonate widely and spark conversations across social media, streaming platforms, and news outlets. Industry analysts note that controlling the narrative is just as important as creating hit records in today's music environment, and Kendrick's approach demonstrates an acute understanding of the power of perception. By questioning Drake's creative and strategic choices at a moment of peak visibility, Kendrick has amplified the stakes of this rivalry and heightened public scrutiny. The reactions from fans have been explosive. Across platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, conversations have erupted, with supporters of Kendrick praising his boldness and those loyal to Drake defending the rapper's accomplishments. Viral clips, memes, and heated debates are circulating constantly, demonstrating the intensity of public interest and the cultural significance of the feud. Analysts point out that this level of engagement is unprecedented for an artistic rivalry in recent years, reflecting both the global reach of these artists and the passionate investment of their fan bases. Every public move, from social media posts to interviews, now carries amplified meaning, and every lyric is dissected for hidden references or veiled responses. Industry insiders also suggest that the fallout could influence the business dynamics surrounding both artists. Collaborators, label executives, and sponsors are reportedly paying close attention to public perception, recognizing that credibility and cultural authority can impact revenue streams, partnerships, and brand positioning. While Drake continues to generate immense commercial success through streaming, tours, and endorsement deals, Kendrick's exposure may shift fan engagement and public sentiment in ways that affect long-term profitability. Analysts note that even for established superstars, perception and influence can play as critical a role as raw numbers when it comes to shaping careers and business outcomes. The artistic implications of this confrontation are significant. Kendrick's challenge underscores the importance of lyrical skill, cultural relevance, and artistic integrity as markers of influence in hip-hop. While Drake has excelled at commercial strategies, collaborations, and streaming dominance, Kendrick's move has shifted attention toward artistry, authenticity, and narrative control. Many emerging and established artists are watching closely, recognizing that this moment may redefine the metrics by which success is measured in rap. The conversation is no longer solely about chart-topping hits or album sales. It now incorporates credibility, legacy, and cultural impact, forcing a re-evaluation of what it means to dominate the genre. Experts note that Kendrick's exposure may also have psychological and creative effects on Drake. Facing public scrutiny and questions about artistic relevance can pressure an artist to adapt, innovate, or respond in ways that alter their trajectory. While Drake has demonstrated resilience in the past, insiders speculate that this confrontation represents a unique challenge due to its timing, public visibility, and focus on credibility rather than numbers. The situation may prompt strategic recalibration, adjustments in marketing or collaborations, and potentially a direct artistic response through music or public statements, all of which will be closely watched by fans and the industry. The ripple effects extend beyond the two artists themselves. Media outlets, podcasters, and cultural commentators are seizing on this moment to analyze broader trends in hip-hop, including how artistic credibility, commercial success, and public narrative intersect. Analysts argue that this feud highlights the evolving expectations of fans, who increasingly value authenticity, innovation, and lyrical depth alongside commercial dominance. This shift may influence not only Drake and Kendrick, but also the strategies of other major artists navigating the modern music landscape, signaling a potential realignment of priorities in the industry. Financially, the exposure could also have implications for brand partnerships, sponsorships, and streaming engagement. While Drake maintains vast revenue streams, public perception can influence fan behavior and engagement metrics, potentially affecting profitability over time. Kendrick, meanwhile, may see enhanced cultural authority and leverage in collaborations or strategic partnerships. Experts emphasize that the modern music business is as much about influence, image, and narrative control as it is about sales figures, and Kendrick's move illustrates how effectively a well-timed revelation can shift the balance of power. Social media continues to amplify the situation, turning what might have been an internal rivalry into a global spectacle. Fans are analyzing every lyric, every post, and every interview for hints, creating a feedback loop that keeps the story in the public eye. Analysts note that this level of engagement can significantly impact how both artists are perceived and may influence decisions on future projects, releases, and collaborations. The visibility of the feud has made it a defining moment in modern hip-hop, demonstrating how public discourse now plays a central role in shaping career trajectories. Ultimately, Kendrick Lamar's exposure of Drake represents more than a clash between two superstars. It is a pivotal moment in the evolution of hip-hop. It challenges assumptions about what constitutes dominance in the rap game, shifting the conversation toward artistry, credibility, and cultural influence. Fans, industry insiders, and artists alike are watching closely as the story unfolds, knowing that the outcomes could reshape the hierarchy of power in music. As the world waits to see Drake's response and the next moves from both artists, it is clear that this confrontation is not just a feud, it is a turning point, one that may define the rap industry for years to come, altering how influence, relevance, and authority are measured in modern hip-hop. The confrontation between Kendrick Lamar and Drake has now reached a fever pitch, with the alleged exposure sparking intense discussions about influence, artistry, and credibility in hip-hop. Sources close to the situation reveal that Kendrick's revelations are not just personal attacks, but strategic moves designed to shift the narrative in the rap world. By questioning Drake's creative decisions, collaborations, and position at the top of the industry, Kendrick is forcing both fans and insiders to reconsider what it means to be the dominant voice in modern hip-hop. This is a pivotal moment, as it challenges long-standing assumptions about power, influence, and respect in the genre. The creative implications of Kendrick's exposure cannot be overstated. While Drake has built a career on commercial dominance, chart-topping hits, and global recognition, Kendrick's critique emphasizes artistry, lyrical skill, and authenticity as essential components of influence. Sources suggest that Kendrick's revelations highlight moments where Drake may have prioritized commercial gain over cultural resonance or artistic integrity. This perspective resonates strongly with sections of the fan base that value originality, thought-provoking content, and credibility over raw numbers. By framing the discussion in these terms, Kendrick is not only challenging Drake, but redefining the metrics by which the rap game measures success. Social media has become the battleground for this unfolding drama. Fans, commentators, and journalists have dissected Kendrick's claims, analyzing lyrics, collaborations, and even public appearances for clues. Memes, viral threads, and trending hashtags have amplified the story globally, creating a feedback loop that keeps both artists in the spotlight. Supporters of Kendrick argue that his exposure is long overdue, pointing to his consistent dedication to craft and social commentary. Conversely, loyal Drake fans defend his achievements, citing his unprecedented streaming numbers, award history, and cross-genre influence. The intensity of online debate illustrates just how much cultural capital is at stake, turning this feud into a defining moment in contemporary hip-hop. Industry insiders note that the timing of Kendrick's move is particularly shrewd, with Drake reportedly preparing new projects and high-profile collaborations. The exposure strategically diverts attention and shapes public perception. Analysts emphasize that narrative control has become as vital as musical output in today's music industry. By raising questions about credibility and artistic relevance at this precise moment, Kendrick has effectively positioned himself as the arbiter of quality and influence, compelling both Drake and the industry at large to respond. This move demonstrates Kendrick's mastery not only of his craft but also of the complex dynamics of modern celebrity and media. The repercussions extend beyond public perception into financial and business considerations. While Drake remains a commercial powerhouse, perceptions of credibility and artistic authority can influence fan engagement, streaming patterns, and brand partnerships. Companies and sponsors closely monitor public sentiment, knowing that association with either artist may impact their image and profitability. Kendrick's strategic exposure, therefore, has the potential to shift both cultural and economic power, influencing not only his and Drake's careers but also the broader landscape of collaborations, endorsements, and industry alliances. Creative peers and other artists are watching this feud closely. Sources suggest that Kendrick's challenge could inspire a renewed emphasis on lyrical depth, authenticity, and artistic integrity within the rap community. By emphasizing credibility over sheer commercial output, Kendrick may be setting a new benchmark for how artists approach music, marketing, and collaborations. This potential shift reflects a broader evolution in hip-hop, where influence is increasingly measured by cultural resonance and legacy rather than purely numerical achievements. Artists are now more conscious than ever of how public perception, fan engagement, and artistic decisions intersect to define their place in the industry. The psychological dimension of the feud is equally significant. Facing public scrutiny over artistic credibility and relevance can exert immense pressure on any artist, even someone with Drake's experience and resilience. Insiders speculate that the rapper may now be re-evaluating strategies, refining his creative direction, and preparing responses, whether through social media, interviews, or musical output. The stakes are not merely personal. They involve fan loyalty, market influence, and long-term legacy. Every move is calculated, and every response is interpreted as a potential shift in the balance of power within the genre. Cultural analysts note that this confrontation reflects a larger tension within hip-hop between commercial success and artistic respect. Drake's achievements demonstrate the power of marketing, streaming dominance, and global brand influence. Kendrick's exposure, however, underscores the enduring importance of credibility, lyrical skill, and authenticity. This duality highlights the evolving expectations of fans and critics, who increasingly weigh both artistry and commercial performance when evaluating dominance in the genre.
The result is a nuanced and complex debate that extends far beyond a single feud, touching on the very values that define hip-hop culture. The media's role in amplifying this feud cannot be overlooked. Coverage across news outlets, podcasts, and entertainment channels ensures that the story reaches audiences who may not even follow hip-hop closely. Analysts suggest that the widespread attention magnifies the stakes for both Kendrick and Drake, making strategic communication and narrative control crucial. The exposure has created a public arena where reputation, credibility, and cultural influence are constantly measured, scrutinized, and debated. In this environment, every statement, lyric, or post carries amplified significance, influencing both fan perception and industry dynamics. Ultimately, Kendrick Lamar's exposure of Drake is a defining moment in modern rap. It challenges long-held assumptions about power, success, and influence while reshaping the conversation around artistry, credibility, and legacy. Fans, industry insiders, and cultural commentators are closely following each development, recognizing that the outcomes of this confrontation could redefine the rap hierarchy for years to come. Drake's response, or the lack thereof, will determine whether he can maintain dominance, adapt to shifting expectations, or face a re-evaluation of his legacy. Kendrick's bold move demonstrates that influence in hip-hop extends beyond charts and streams. It is rooted in authenticity, artistry, and the power to shape the culture itself. This is more than a feud, it is a turning point that may permanently alter the rap game. The ongoing fallout from Kendrick Lamar exposing Drake has created unprecedented tension in the rap industry, with implications that extend far beyond personal rivalry. According to insiders, Kendrick's calculated disclosures are forcing a re-evaluation of how dominance is measured in hip-hop, highlighting the difference between commercial success and artistic authority. While Drake has long been seen as a powerhouse of streaming numbers, global influence, and cross-genre appeal, Kendrick's critique emphasizes credibility, lyrical skill, and cultural authenticity as equally vital markers of power. This confrontation has sparked debates among fans, analysts, and industry insiders, making it one of the most consequential events in contemporary hip-hop. At the heart of Kendrick's exposure is a critique of creative choices and industry positioning. Sources indicate that Kendrick has highlighted instances where Drake may have prioritized commercial strategies over artistic integrity, from high-profile collaborations to formulaic releases. While Drake's commercial achievements are undeniable, Kendrick's revelations suggest that market dominance does not automatically translate to respect or credibility within the rap community. This perspective has sparked a broader discussion about what it truly means to run the rap game, forcing fans and industry players to weigh artistic innovation against commercial output when evaluating influence. The role of social media in amplifying this feud has been unprecedented. Platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok have exploded with fan reactions, analysis, and viral content dissecting Kendrick's claims. Memes, threads, and debate videos have created a continuous cycle of engagement, ensuring that the story remains in the public consciousness. Fans are taking sides, analyzing lyrics, collaborations, and public statements, while influencers and commentators dissect the potential impact on both artists' careers. This online frenzy demonstrates the power of digital platforms in shaping public perception, turning what could have been a private industry dispute into a global spectacle. Industry experts note that the timing of Kendrick's move was strategic. Drake was reportedly preparing upcoming projects, tours, and promotional campaigns when Kendrick's exposure surfaced, maximizing visibility and public interest. Analysts suggest that controlling the narrative is now just as important as releasing music, and Kendrick's approach demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of how timing, media attention, and fan engagement can shift cultural narratives. By raising questions about credibility and influence, Kendrick has repositioned himself as a central figure in defining the standards of modern hip-hop. Financial and business considerations are also critical. While Drake remains a commercial juggernaut with extensive revenue streams from albums, streaming, tours, and endorsements, public perception plays a significant role in sustaining influence. Brand partnerships, sponsorships, and collaborations are sensitive to fan sentiment, meaning Kendrick's exposure could indirectly affect Drake's market positioning. Conversely, Kendrick may leverage this moment to reinforce his authority and cultural capital, solidifying his position as both an artist and a tastemaker within the genre. This interplay between public perception and business outcomes underscores the complexity of navigating a career at the highest level in contemporary music. Creative peers are closely monitoring the confrontation, with many recognizing its potential to influence broader trends in hip-hop. Kendrick's emphasis on credibility, authenticity, and artistry may inspire other artists to prioritize lyrical depth and cultural resonance over purely commercial considerations. This could reshape the creative priorities of a new generation of rappers, reinforcing the idea that influence is not solely measured by streaming numbers or chart success. By challenging Drake at the height of his commercial influence, Kendrick is setting a new standard for what it means to dominate the genre. Psychologically, the feud adds pressure on both artists. Facing public scrutiny over credibility and artistry can affect confidence, decision-making, and strategic planning. Sources suggest that Drake may be reconsidering upcoming projects, marketing strategies, and public statements in response to Kendrick's challenge. Every public appearance, lyric, or social media post is now under heightened scrutiny, and even minor missteps could have amplified consequences. The intense attention demonstrates how high-profile feuds can impact not only public perception but also the internal dynamics of an artist's creative and business decisions. Cultural analysts emphasize that this moment reflects a broader shift in hip-hop. While commercial success remains essential, credibility, artistic integrity, and cultural relevance are increasingly valued by fans, peers, and critics alike. Kendrick's exposure has shifted the conversation away from purely numerical achievements, prompting a deeper evaluation of influence and legacy. This may redefine the hierarchy in hip-hop, where artists are judged not only by their ability to generate hits but also by their capacity to shape culture, command respect, and demonstrate artistry. Media coverage has amplified the stakes even further. Podcasts, news outlets, and entertainment shows have dissected every aspect of the feud, from lyrical content to public statements, increasing pressure on both Kendrick and Drake. The exposure has turned into a global discussion, with fans and analysts alike speculating about responses, future releases, and the broader implications for the industry. Every detail is scrutinized, creating a high-stakes environment in which narrative control is as important as musical output. Ultimately, Kendrick Lamar's exposure of Drake represents a turning point in modern rap. By challenging the accepted measures of dominance, Kendrick has ignited a debate about credibility, artistry, and influence that will resonate for years. Fans, industry insiders, and cultural commentators are watching closely as both artists navigate this moment, knowing that the outcomes could redefine the rap hierarchy and influence how success is measured in the genre. This is not just a personal feud, it is a cultural moment, a redefinition of power, and a pivotal point that may permanently shape the trajectory of hip-hop. Kendrick's bold move reminds the industry that influence comes not just from numbers, but from authenticity, vision, and the ability to command respect in a rapidly evolving musical landscape. The feud between Kendrick Lamar and Drake has now reached a stage where its implications extend far beyond personal rivalry, spilling into the realms of cultural influence, commercial strategy, and artistic legacy. Sources close to the situation suggest that Kendrick's strategic exposure of Drake is intended not merely as a critique but as a redefining statement about what it means to dominate hip-hop in the modern era. By highlighting perceived weaknesses in Drake's creative choices, collaborations, and public positioning, Kendrick is forcing fans, collaborators, and industry insiders to reconsider the balance between commercial power and artistic credibility, signaling a potential shift in the genre's hierarchy. Financial and strategic pressures surrounding this feud cannot be ignored. While Drake continues to hold an impressive record of streaming numbers, chart-topping albums, and global brand partnerships, insiders note that credibility and cultural authority are now equally vital metrics in maintaining influence. The exposure orchestrated by Kendrick has introduced a layer of scrutiny that extends to endorsements, collaborations, and audience engagement. Stakeholders, including labels, sponsors, and streaming platforms, are reportedly monitoring fan reactions and public sentiment closely, knowing that perceptions of authenticity can influence the commercial trajectory of high-profile artists. Kendrick's move thus represents not only a personal assertion of dominance but also a calculated business maneuver with potential long-term ramifications. The psychological and creative pressures on Drake have intensified as a result. Sources indicate that being publicly challenged on credibility and artistry has prompted the rapper to reassess upcoming projects, marketing strategies, and potential collaborations. Every lyric, interview, and public appearance is now subjected to heightened analysis, amplifying the stakes of each decision. Industry insiders stress that navigating this scrutiny requires not only resilience but also strategic planning and careful management of both creative output and public messaging. The unfolding feud illustrates the complex interplay between artistry, perception, and influence in a highly competitive and media-driven environment. For Kendrick, the exposure has solidified his position as a cultural arbiter within hip-hop. By questioning the reigning metrics of success, Kendrick has effectively shifted the narrative toward authenticity, innovation, and long-term legacy. Analysts suggest that this could inspire a new standard for emerging and established artists alike, emphasizing the importance of lyrical depth, social commentary, and artistic consistency over purely commercial achievements. Kendrick's approach demonstrates that influence in the modern rap landscape is multidimensional, encompassing not just record sales and streams but also cultural resonance and narrative authority. Social media has amplified the feud to a global scale. Platforms such as Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram have become arenas for fan debates, analyses, and viral content dissecting every development. Hashtags, memes, and viral videos are generating engagement that spans continents, creating a feedback loop that sustains public interest and media coverage. Supporters of Kendrick praise his courage and strategic acumen, arguing that he has restored attention to artistry and integrity. Drake's fans defend his commercial achievements and global influence, emphasizing the multifaceted nature of dominance in contemporary music. The intensity of online discourse underscores how public perception now plays a critical role in shaping the careers and cultural impact of leading artists. The artistic consequences of this feud extend to the broader music community. Kendrick's emphasis on credibility and authenticity may prompt peers to reconsider their creative priorities and strategic decisions. By elevating the importance of lyrical skill, cultural relevance, and artistic integrity, Kendrick is setting a precedent that could redefine how success is measured and pursued within hip-hop. This shift has implications for the entire industry, influencing collaborations, marketing strategies, and even the development of emerging talent. In this sense, the feud is not merely a clash between two superstars but a catalyst for broader structural change within the genre. Media coverage has further heightened the stakes. News outlets, podcasts, and entertainment channels are dissecting every aspect of the feud, from lyrical content to public statements, adding pressure on both artists to navigate a highly scrutinized environment. Analysts suggest that the coverage serves to amplify both the risks and opportunities inherent in the situation. For Kendrick, the exposure strengthens his authority and cultural capital. For Drake, it challenges him to reaffirm his creative relevance and credibility. Every decision made in the coming weeks may influence fan engagement, commercial outcomes, and long-term legacy. The confrontation also underscores the evolving nature of power in hip-hop. Historically, commercial success was often seen as the primary measure of dominance, but Kendrick's move emphasizes that cultural authority, artistic influence, and credibility are equally significant. Fans, industry insiders, and collaborators are now re-examining the metrics that define success, considering not only sales and streams but also the ability to shape public discourse and influence culture. This moment highlights the multidimensional nature of power in modern music, where perception, artistry, and strategy intersect. Ultimately, Kendrick Lamar's exposure of Drake represents a pivotal turning point in contemporary hip-hop. It challenges assumptions about dominance, reshapes cultural narratives, and forces both fans and industry professionals to reconsider what it means to be influential in the genre. The clash between Kendrick Lamar and Drake has shaken the rap world to its core, and fans everywhere are weighing in. Who do you think comes out on top? Drake with his commercial dominance, or Kendrick with his credibility and artistry? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let the community know where you stand. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates on this epic rivalry. We'll keep you informed with insider insights, fan reactions, and breaking news as the story unfolds. From lyrical analyses to behind-the-scenes developments, you'll get the full picture of how this feud could redefine the rap game. Don't just watch, join the conversation, share your predictions, and be part of a moment that could permanently change the hip-hop landscape. Stay tuned, because this is just the beginning.